Good morning. Good morning. This was a solid weekend for me, and I'm going to be shipping out my live orders this morning. So thank you for joining me. Whether you're watching live right now or watching on the replay later on, all are welcome. And I just want to say thank you for coming to spend time with me and hang out and share with me and the things that I'm shipping out, but also sharing what you've sold as well, where you are in your reseller journey. If you don't know me, I'm Jason. I'm a full-time reseller, and I basically use these weekly live shipping lives to share with you the brands that I'm picking up and selling, the brands that maybe aren't selling anymore, and taking your questions, connecting with you. So whether you want to just come in and say hi, share something with me, we all learn from one another. And so I just want to thank you for choosing to spend time here. We'll get started here in just a second. Again, I alluded to a solid weekend. Last weekend was the biggest I've had in a while, and this one kind of followed up. It wasn't as big as last weekend, but I have 30 orders out the door. So it was still a solid weekend, and I'm stoked about that. I'll be sharing those with you here in just a sec from Mercari, Poshmark, and eBay. 3 different platforms making sales this weekend. Yes, Mercari was in this weekend. And I'm going to try out something new this morning. I've got a question of the day that I'll be posing to you, and I'd love to hear your feedback just to get the conversation going in a direction. Would love to hear your responses to that, and I'll share that in just a second. But before I do any of that, I just want to take a moment and acknowledge, since I haven't publicly acknowledged on any of my social media spaces, the week that we've had since last Wednesday when Charlie Kirk was assassinated. Now, politics aside, regardless of where you fall, left, right, somewhere in the middle, that doesn't matter. What happened was horrible, graphic, and caused trauma for a lot of people to witness that either firsthand in person or just to be impacted by the result of that. And I just want to say there's no place for violence like that. And my thoughts and prayers go out to everyone involved, especially Erica and their kids. It's a sad day for them specifically. It's a sad day for us as well, to be assassinated for sharing your opinions. Again, politics aside, regardless of where you fall, we have an opportunity to come together as a people with our disagreements, with our opinions. I didn't agree with everything Charlie Kirk said. I didn't disagree with everything Charlie Kirk said. But I still want to honor and value every life regardless. And so with that said, I hope that we can come to a place where we can come to the table together. We can share our opinions. We can share our background, and we can have a foundation of acceptance and belonging, regardless of the disagreements that we may have or the passion involved in that. So that's all I'll say about that. But I did want to just take a moment to acknowledge what's been going on and how this has impacted all of us, regardless of where you fall. So there's no easy way to transition from that, but I do have 30 orders shipping out this morning. I've got one that I accepted on eBay this morning, and I've got another on Depop that I accepted. It was sent late last night. We'll hope that goes through, but not holding my breath on that one as Depop goes. Yeah, so I'm going to roll out the question of the day here in just a sec. I'm going to go ahead and put in the chat some links to things that I'll likely be talking about as we go this morning. So if you have any interest in knowing some resources that I use for my business, I'll link that in the chat. So here's the question of the day. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. How do you start your morning? What does it look like? An average morning for you. It doesn't have to be a Monday morning, but typically, whether you're a morning person or a night person, how do you start each morning? Do you have a rhythm or a ritual that some kind of rhythm that you have built into your day? What does that look like for you? So I'll leave that up, and I'll share my answer to that, my response to that in just a second. But I do want to hear from some of you first before I share mine. How do you start your morning? What does it look like? No wrong answers on this, just curious. It's always great to have feedback and responses coming in, so I thought I would leave that out there. Okay, as I always do, I'm going to start off my shipping this morning with the platform that made the most the platform that made the least amount of sales, which is Mercari, as you would have guessed. I got 1 sale on Mercari, 5 on Poshmark, and 24 on eBay. So let's ship out Mercari now. So I had this pair of Dickies overalls that I actually picked up recently for, I think, $6. Sold them within, where is it? 8 days. Sold them a little over a week for a best offer of $22. Had these for about $35. I thought I would get more than that, and I could have waited for more, but I took a lower offer than I typically would on these overalls because I was feeling, man, Friday, I was just thinking, I want this weekend to be a weekend of cash flow. I want to get sales going in and out the door, kind of like I had last weekend. Last weekend, I had 36 or 37 orders total across all platforms. And it was one of those weekends where I was just more liberal in the way that I was accepting offers. Like if a decent offer came in, a lot of them I weren't even countering, I was just accepting. And so my mindset on Friday was, I want to get into this rhythm where I'm seeing cash flow. I'm seeing items turn. And I would say I did that. Typically, if I have 30 or more orders on a weekend, that's good. And so I can't complain at all. Can't complain at all. All right, I'm gonna print out this label, but I've gotta fix it first. For some reason, it always, when I do Mercari labels on the 4x6, even though I've got it set for 4x6, it still brings it into this weird format. Good morning, Nick. Thanks for jumping in here. Good morning, good morning. And that one is a UPS because it was over 2 pounds on Mercari, so I'll have to drop that off at UPS. Nick, hope you had a great weekend. So I alluded to my mindset on Friday, which was I want sales to come in. I want to keep the ball rolling. I want my store to be active and fresh. So I run sales weekly on my old inventory, but this week I decided I'm just going to put everything on sale. So I ran a 10% off sale, even my new inventory. And yeah, I'd say it paid off. I had some decent sales this weekend, good sales this weekend. My highest was a $100 item, and I'll show that in just a second. My lowest was 11, and then everything ranged in there from, on average, $20 to $40. Had a pretty, Nick says, had a pretty average sales weekend, but a great weekend personally. Nick, what were you able to? What made your weekend good personally? If you'd love to share that, love to hear it. Would love to hear it. Okay, that was Mercari. A pair of Dickies overalls for $22. We're going to move on to Poshmark. I had 5 sales over there, 5 orders going out. Friday, I had 4 sales on Poshmark. Saturday, I had 1, and then yesterday, none. All right, so let's ship out this first one. Got this Polo Ralph Lauren flannel, this really great color flannel that I sold on Posh for $18. Offer came in, I had it for $24, just accepted. Get it out. Polo Ralph Lauren is super saturated, and I knew if I countered, the buyer could just go find this from someone else. And when I picked this up, I typically am not paying a lot for Polo Ralph Laurens nowadays. I'm not picking them up for $8. Typically looking for ones that are discounted half price or that are already lower. And so that being the mindset of, if it's a decent pattern, decent size, and this was a colorful flannel, let's get it out. It's going to Boston, Mass. So stoked about that. Love Boston. Pool time and watching football on the patio. I love it. I love it. I wish I could say my weekend was good. I was more so reflecting on the Hogs. This weekend was not good for the Hogs. But I love that you're getting some pool time. It's perfect to be able to sit by the pool and watch some games. Our question of the morning, if you're just joining, question of the day, how do you start your morning? Whether you're a morning person or not. And I'm going to share my response in just a second, my answer. But how do you start your morning? Do you have some kind of rhythm that you get into, or do you just roll out of bed after you hit the snooze button? There's no wrong answers here, obviously. It's just, how do you start? All right, next up, Poshmark, outdoor research. And some of these, it's going to be hard to tell because they're in plastic wrap. I didn't used to do this, but I do it now. But there's the logo inside, and I don't think you can see it. Had this men's small knit shirt. I had this higher. Outdoor Research is a great brand. Men's small, and this had a couple flaws on it, so I took a best offer of 15 to move it. This was one of those items where I was trying to get them at 20 or 18, and I got no response. So after like 10, 15 minutes, maybe even longer of waiting, I just went and matched their best offer, their offer, and they accepted eventually. I'll do that from time to time. I'll counter, seeing if I can get them with a quick accept, and if they don't, if the offer is decent, I'll go in and accept their offer and see if they'll come back for it. How do you start off your morning? Coffee on the patio with my wife. I love that. That's a good routine to have. All right, next up, brand new pair of Burn. I'm not familiar with this brand, but I always look things up, and these sold for $29 full price on Poshmark. Burn, like tactical canvas pants. The ripstop pants is more the technical word on this, technical model, I guess. I've got a store here in our mall that's called $5.99 or less. They really should change their name because they recently raised their prices, but it's all brand new with tags, like stuff that's been donated from like Target and Walmart and other department stores. And I don't usually go for the Target stuff, but if I find like Wranglers or Levi's, I typically will look at that. And for men's, everything is $8. So $7.99 for every pair that they have, and I'll sort through. And sometimes I can find stuff to sell on Amazon there. I haven't been in a while actually, but that was a pair that I found there. Again, it used to be $5.99, and that, I mean, when you're paying $6 for a brand new pair of pants that you can sell for $30, that was decent. And then they raised it a couple dollars, so still not bad, but $8 makes some pickups a little harder to justify. All right, this was my fastest flip of the weekend. My fastest flip. This Nike Ohio State like thermal waffle thermal shirt. It's got the waffle knit, like really cool pattern. Looked really excellent condition on this. Didn't look like it had much wear on it. Tag. It's kind of that older Nike. I'd say probably Y2K on this. 2XL. Buyer on Poshmark made an offer for $22 and accepted. Ohio State, always a good sports team in football. They always are in contention in the national spotlight, and so I'm always looking for teams like Ohio State, teams that have big markets, a lot of following across the country, teams that consistently do well in a sport. This was a perfect team to pick up right now. And as we're in week 2 of, I guess, week 3 now of the college football season, someone snagged that up just in time. Wish I could say my Hogs did better this weekend. They played a competitive game, but ultimately fell short. Fell short to Ole Miss. They had a drive. They were down by 6 with 2 minutes to play. They had a drive at like the 30 yard. No, they were like a 30-yard line, and they all game had been moving their offense on the defense, and they fumbled. I was like, they're going to score. They didn't score. So they fumbled and lost the game. What a way to lose. It was just major bummer. But with Arkansas football, it's like, this is how it's been for a while. You get all excited, and then you just get let down. Week 3, I was really hopeful we were going to pull out the win. All right, next up on Posh, this is my last sale. Went out, sold yesterday. This brand new with tags, J. Farrar. Picked this up at JCPenney's for $5 in their $5 sale. I got a lot of stuff there. I think close to 100 items, and I had a couple of these. This was the last to go. So I sold this on a best offer for $40. This like velvety, really cool fall pattern. This like deep purple fall winter color, corduroy velvety blazer. Never done that JCPenney sale, but someone had posted it on social media that they had gone, and I started seeing people say like $5 an item. So I went up to JCPenney's, and it definitely paid off for me. Picked up a bunch of flannels, picked up some great pants, some dress pants. Like I said, I got probably close to 100 items at this JCPenney's $5 sale. And pretty much stuck to, not everything was $5, but obviously their lowest discounted items were $5. So definitely something I'll keep my eye on for next year when they do that sale again. If you think about this shirt, I got 40 for, paid for 8 items that I bought. And I've definitely sold a few of those $5 items already. Question of the day: how do you start your morning? I'll share mine. So I'm not consistent, and I'd like to be more consistent. But always start off with coffee. That's a must. I start off with coffee. And on the mornings when I would say the day goes better, or when I get up and I have some time to sit, I have some time like before just getting dressed and doing all of that and kind of the busyness of the day, I kind of just sit and be quiet. Something I've been doing right off the bat initially is I have like a cheap notebook where I just write down my thoughts. I just write to get it out of my body, out of my mind. Write down what I'm thinking, things that I've experienced, where my thoughts and feelings are, and just really try and journal. It's not to write like smoothly or really well. It's just to get it out. And I've been doing that. Just write a page, get it out. That's helped, especially for someone who can hold things in. So that's been a really good thing that I've started. And I don't always do it, but I've noticed that's helped when I do. I also try and reflect, be quiet, pray, read the word. I don't do all of these every morning, but sometimes I'll do bits and pieces of them, and just, I guess, allow my mind to start off in silence and in truth and in prayer, rather than starting off by getting ready and quickly going throughout the day. I feel more rested and at peace when I do that. So that's kind of how I start the morning. Yeah, notice a huge difference. The rest of the day looks completely different. Okay. But I love the coffee on the patio. Let's get back to eBay. All right, let's get to eBay now. 24 orders. So I finished Mercari and Poshmark. Now we're going to ship out the 24 orders that I have on eBay. And I'll start this off with this first sale from Friday, these Levi's 511 Flex jeans. They were new, and these sold for $31.50 on a Nifty offer. So I had these at $35. Nifty sent out a 10% offer, and they sold. Been selling a lot of jeans lately. This one's going to Los Angeles, California. I'm gonna have to refresh all my tabs. I've had these open for too long. I'm sure there probably is, but I don't know it. There's got to be a way to refresh all your tabs at once. Anyone know that? I'll look it up after. So I ran a sale this weekend, 10% off on, I had all my items on sale. My old inventory was 20% off. And my new inventory, I did it 10% off for the weekend only. Actually, I say that. I just reran the same sale this week to get some sales as well. 10% off new inventory. So everything's on sale. I have also been making some other changes in the store. So you've probably heard about me switching to buyer paid returns. Since I've done that, I've had 2 returns, and I did that probably 3 to 4 weeks ago. So knock on wood, I'm not trying to jinx myself here, but 3 to 4 weeks ago, I turned on buyer paid returns instead of free returns. I've had 2 returns. So that's significantly lower than what I was getting before. At one point, actually, when I started this, I had 7 or 8 active returns. And that led to me just going, I've got to do this differently. So we'll see how things continue to roll out with returns, and I'll share my stats with you when I get, it hasn't really been a lot of time. It could have just been a coincidence that I haven't had returns, but that's been going well so far to only have 2 returns in a month since I've started that. I've started putting pictures of my measurements in my listing now. So that's probably 2 weeks in. I've been doing that. It's something I've thought about for a long time and just never really wanted to do it, but it's obviously more time on the front end taking the pictures, but then when I go to create the listing, I don't have to do anything in the description really. So that saves time there. So hard to say how that impacts the buying experience, whether that's making an impact at all, whether people are seeing the measurements or not. I know some people do, some people don't, but those are some changes I've been making, and they've been going well. But as with anything, when you start something new, like taking the pictures and the measurements, I'm still trying to figure out, oh yeah, I need to do this while I'm taking the pictures. And it's not part of my, it's not something that I just do effortlessly, seamlessly right now. But it will become a part of my rhythm. It'll be something that I just do without thinking about. Not there yet. If you're just jumping in, the question of the day, how do you start off your morning? What does it look like? You hit the snooze button 4 times, which is totally fine. Are you a morning person? What do? Do you go for a run? Yeah, to answer your question, Nick, so I take all of my pictures in batches. So I take it back there on that wall, and then I immediately just bring it, set it down. I've got the yardstick right here. I would say it probably adds, because I'm only doing 2 measurements, and that's the pit to pit and then the length from the neck down. I would say it adds maybe a minute or less. But again, when I was creating the listing, I was measuring it here, and then I was trying to remember it in my head. And then when I got to the description, I was plugging in the details there. And so, it's probably about the same. I don't know if it honestly saves time, but I think more people will check the pictures because more people want to see pictures than they want to read. So, and I would get questions sometimes from people saying, can you give me the measurements? And they would be in the description. So I think it can only help me instead of hurting me when it comes to people want to see a picture, and it's quickly that tells the story right there. I think you get the point. How much of the measurement am I showing? I can show you what I'm doing. I'll have to find a new listing. One sec. See if I've got one that I sold. I don't think that one was new enough. No. Here's one. Let me share my screen with you, and I'll show you exactly what my pictures look like. So sorry, we got to switch this out. So that's the first pick on shirts. I'm showing the pit to pit. And second one would be this. That would be the link. So I'm not showing the whole item in view just because, one, it'd be hard to see the ruler. I know some people will do like, they'll show the ruler zoomed out and then they'll zoom in. I'm like, that's too many pictures for me. I just want 2 pictures. People can easily see that's the length. And this one is the pit to pit, the width. So that's how I'm doing it. And yeah, it's kind of annoying to have to take a picture of because I have to take it down and set it over here. But again, I'm also not putting anything in the description. So it's like I'm spending extra time to then save that time later on. So it's just a different, it's just different, I guess, is the way to say that. All right, next up, new Polo Ralph Lauren retail arbitrage. Polo Ralph Lauren corduroy pants. You can't see the corduroy, but it's in there, 34 by 34. I had several of these that I bought, probably 12 pairs back in 2024. Most of them have sold. I'm down to my last few, and I would imagine, at least hope, that by the end of this winter, they'll be gone. Paid $29 a piece for these, and they're selling for, I think at most, I guess, upper 60s. These sold for $57.60. Yeah, the pants are trickier, Nick, and that's a good question because obviously you've got more fabric to work with. At first, I was zooming in way too far on the pants, and I was just trying to catch the ruler, and I thought, you know what, I need to zoom out a little bit. So I'll see if I can find a recent pant measurement. And again, this is still a work in progress, but I can at least share where I am right now. I'm going to have to find, hold on one sec. This is something, yeah, again, I just started a couple weeks ago, so I got to find one that has the measurements in. I've got to find pants that I did. All right, let's take a look at this one. So again, we'll take a look at this. That's maybe zoomed in a little too far, but oh, hang on just a sec. There we go. That's probably zoomed in a little too far, but that's kind of where I am right now. So I'm trying to zoom out a little bit more to capture more of the waist, so it's obvious that's the waist. I mean, people can see that's the waist, but more specifically on my inseam, I'm doing this. And with this picture is the one where I'm trying to zoom out a little more, capture more of the leg. But my ruler's lighter. My yardstick is a ruler. My yardstick is a lighter yardstick. So there it is. I want to make sure that people can see the numbers, or obviously the measurements don't do any good. So that's where I am right now. That's where I'll get better at it as I continue on with this. Yeah, I mean, I've been thinking about it for years, Nick, to be honest. And I was just like, man, I don't want to do this. I don't want to take pictures of the measurements. But, and again, I have no proof on whether it's going to drastically increase sales or not, but at least they're in there. We'll see. Sales have been good in the last 2 weeks, but that could also just be where we are in the season. More than likely, it's that people are buying now. Okay, this was my biggest sale of the weekend on eBay. Vineyard Vines, brand new cashmere sweater. This retails for $305. I sold it for $105. Retails for $328. Picked this up for about $20 at the Yellow Tag sale this last spring. Of course, it sat around through the summer, and accepted an offer on this. Going to Dallas, Texas. Not going to add extra protection on that for $5 extra. $105, paid $20. Actually got several Vineyard Vines pieces at that one store, yellow tag sale at TJ Maxx and Marshall's. Am I doing the leg opening? No, and I do get questions about that, but it's not enough for me to warrant that. I actually have a question this morning on the leg opening on an item. I probably am not going to answer it. I just don't care. I don't see a lot of people convert when I answer those questions into sales. So it's not enough for me to justify getting that measurement. But yeah, I would consider playing around with it and at least trying it, seeing how it works for you. It could be something where, I don't know, your listing setup. I do the hang approach. Some people do like the angled flat lay approach. And I think it makes more sense for me if I was going to kind of like Surfs does, or I don't know who else, but Surfs does it where he's got the angled like drafting board and he's able to lay it out and he can quickly just put the ruler down. That would obviously save me more time if I had that approach, if I had that set up, but I don't. And I'm not going to build it right now. Okay. I don't have a lot of room in here for a drafting table. I'm missing some shipping labels in here. One sec. All right. Next up, another retail arbitrage. You're hearing a lot of retail arbitrage. I do a lot of this, mainly thrifting, but I still dabble with retail. Picked up 2 of these for $16. One sold for $45 on Depop. These sold for $40 on eBay. These Dickies, like railroad style striped jeans, carpenter jeans. These got a lot of traction on Depop, as you would imagine. Not surprised by that. Dickies, carpenter pants, and then they had a very unique pattern that you're not going to find a lot out there. And I knew when I picked them up, I mean, honestly, I was hoping they had 10 pairs of those. I knew they were going to sell, and they did. Within 23 days. So the second pair selling in 23 days. Gives me a profit of $18.84. So I spent $16 to make $18.84. A little over 100% return on my investment. All right, I remember where I was when I picked this up, and some pieces I can do that with. And I remember thinking, this is a women's REI extra small, like puffer jacket, full zip. And I remember thinking, I hate selling extra small, but it was half price. I think it was $2, maybe $4, $4 most, because I remember thinking, I don't want to pick up extra small. So I accepted a low offer on this, a $17.50, because I was just like, you know what? Extra small items tend to be the items that are sitting in my inventory. Let's just get my money back on this. So I did. I don't even think I countered. I think I just took it. $17.50. Again, if I paid $4, it's not bringing in a lot of money. I make like $10 profit. And it moves an item out that takes up a little more space when you think about jackets. Man, I don't know if you heard my stomach just growl, but I'm going to eat my banana bread now. 706. So my response was in response to the shipping label price of $706 going to California for a 13-ounce. I guess that makes sense. If it had been 12 ounces, it would be like $5.80 or something, $6.29, something like that. Okay, story time on this one. If you follow me on Instagram, Facebook, you may have seen a post on Thursday or Friday that I did of this shirt. I sold this in April of this last spring. April. It was an international order going to Israel. Typically with orders, I just ship it and I forget it. And then buyer reached out and he was like, hey, I haven't got it. I'm like, did you check? It says it's delivered. Long story short, he never went and got it. He never, somehow, I don't know where the miscommunication was. So it got sent back to me. I received it last week from April. This shirt, brand new with tags, the Southern Tide, really like beachy Hawaiian print. So because it happened in April, I couldn't get the buyer information from eBay. I mean, I could see the order. I could see that I sold it, but there was no way to refund the order. There was no way to send the money. So I'm like, I don't really know what to do with this. Well, I relisted it. And then he came and bought it again, which was funny. I didn't realize when he sent the offer that it was the same guy that had purchased it before. So he came and bought it. It's going back to Israel. And he just sent a message after he purchased it, said it's really important you get the phone number on the front. So I'm going to go in and make sure to do that when I ship this order. But I didn't feel right having him pay for it again. So I refunded his order payment. I kept the shipping charge, obviously, because I'm paying to ship it. But I just actually, before this live, went in and refunded his money because I'm like, he's already paid for it and it got sent back to me and I wasn't able to refund him. So I just refunded it right now. I didn't feel right him being charged twice. So again, international orders go through pirate ship. Let's get signed into the right account here. Where is it? It's weird. Okay. I've never had this happen before. So it looks like the buyer may have paid through eBay's international shipping because I am not seeing it in pirate ship. I've never had an order where it wouldn't pull up in pirate ship. It's just not there. It's not even giving me the option to ship it from pirate ship, which is strange because it automatically links with my eBay account. I'm just going to make sure I haven't missed it. Yeah, it's not there. So I'm going to ship it through the eBay order and hope that his phone number gets on there. Okay, there it is. I was like, why is it not giving me the option to print? Let's see. Good morning to you, Chemo. Hope you're having a great start to the day. The question of the day for those that are just popping in is, how do you start your morning? Would love to hear if you want to share. How do you start your morning? Do you have a ritual or a rhythm or something that you do? Feel free to share if you'd like to. I am looking for shipping out this international, so sorry if I'm quiet for a second. I've got to find his phone number to put in there because this was an order that buyer purchased like 6 months ago and it got sent back and he repurchased. So I've got to make sure to get this one right. Okay. All right, I've got his phone number in. There we go. All right, I've put his phone number in where I can. Let's just hope this time works out. Hitting snooze button 10 times. Yeah, I mean, there are definitely mornings where I do that too. It's been a while since I've had an international order through eBay's international plan. All right, next up, I love this. I don't like buying blazers, but I love when I get sales like this. They just take up so much space. They're heavy, but I've become really selective with these. I am just maxed out on a room in that closet. You probably heard me say that before. And so I'm very selective, but this is a pattern that I will buy time and time again. This like houndstooth pattern. This is a Ralph Lauren blazer. Really beautiful piece here. I love Ralph Lauren, but I don't really go for the solid patterns anymore unless it's a fabric that is more premium pattern like cashmere, silk, linen. Those are the things that I would consider a solid color. This was a silk wool blend, Ralph Lauren size 52 regular. So many things going on. That's what I want to find in a blazer. I want a great size. I want a great pattern. I want great material. When all three of those come together, and a great brand, I guess all four, that's a good recipe for me that will dictate to pick it up. This sold for best offer, $55. $55 in 15 days. And blazers typically are, if I'm at a thrift store, they're typically anywhere from $7 to $12. What do you all look for in blazers? Yeah, that's actually a really good idea, Nick. I wish I had the space for a Z rack. I just don't, but I love that. Because you want to hang it. I mean, you can fold it, but there were times when I folded blazers in storage, and it just, when I went to ship it, it created a lot of wrinkles and a hard crease. And you can work with the fabric, but I want the first impression to not be a folded, creased, or I guess a creased. And of course, I'm going to fold it to ship it. I have to do that. But if it's been sitting for months in a bin, it's just, I don't know. I haven't had good experience with that. So I'm with you, Nick. I hang all my stuff up, then I fold it when I ship it. But the Z-Rack is a really good touch to that. If we ever move and I have like more of a basement setting, kind of like Brad does, Surf's Up, I would consider, it's a good idea to consider. I would love to have all of my items. Most of my items are in my garage, if you don't know. So not really climate controlled. I'd love to have all my items climate controlled. All right, blazer goes in a clear poly bag, and then I put it in another poly bag, especially on something that buyer paid over $50 for this. Let's make sure to protect it. Thanks for sharing how you do that, Nick. I love hearing that. Those watching, if you have tips like that, things that you find have helped your business, feel free to share them in the comments with each of us. I'm sharing what I know, but I'm definitely learning from others. I learn on social media all the time. I learn from you. That's how I got started reselling. Learning from actually Rally Roots. You all know Rally Roots. I'm sure you do. They're still putting out videos. Chemo's in on the blazer game. Sold a Circle S, really. Wow. That's a good one. What'd you get for the Circle S? Yeah, that's good, Nick. I've got a 2-car garage. We put the car in on one side and I've got my inventory on the other. I would love a 3rd-car garage. We always want more, right? More space, more room, more items, more listings. But I'm happy that I have that. I'm glad that, and I don't have to go to a storage unit to pick up my items. But if we ever move, I think that will be the thing I'll look for, is a basement. I would love to have the basement to where it's just everything's down there. $15 days to sell the Ralph Lauren blazer for $55 plus shipping. I don't remember how much I paid, but let's just say it was $10. I don't think it was that. That would have given me $39.43 profit at a $10 cost. Okay. Next up, this Tommy Bahama brand new sweater, pullover sweater. This is the Tobago Bay, is the official model. And with Tommy Bahama, especially if you have a new item, that top code right there is the model. So I looked that up. I had several of these, probably 15 to 20 of these I bought at TJ Maxx for $15 a piece. This one sold on a best offer for $40. Would give me $15 to $20 in profit. Still got several left. I listed them last spring. I sold off a handful of them before it got warm, and now I've got the remainder. Thanks so much for those kind words, Nick. Love connecting with you. I love seeing the things that you're selling, the Western shirts, the Carhartts, and of course you do a lot more than that too, but you always find the really fun stuff to resell. Or at least it seems from my end. I know there are some bread and butter items in there too. So $15.90 profit on that. When I'm doing bulk buys like that, if I'm going to spend kind of a hefty amount on one item, I'll take less margin because I can create one listing and then I can quickly breeze through the rest of them. Go into the listing, change the size, change the color in the pics, and I'm good. All right, next up, had a couple t-shirts, brand new t-shirts that I just sold on lower offers just to get them going. Johnny O, you can't really see the graphic, but there's the logo. If you don't know Johnny O, I'd say be careful when picking up this brand. 3-4 years ago, I'd pick it up and sell it like that. Polos, button-ups, all kinds of stuff. Now, with a lot of brands, they're slower, but I got $20 on this brand new t-shirt. It was a smaller size, medium, and it did have like a pin-sized hole by the collar, and it had like a little bit of a stain. So when I was going back and forth with the offers on this and I saw those flaws, I was like, you know what? This is a flawed item in a small size. I'm going to move it. I'm not going to try and get the most money out of it. It's like, realize I have a buyer here ready to take it, and let's just get it going. Posting 6 vintage fur coats today. Whoa, let's go. Love seeing that. Next up, Untuck It, brand new. You see these going out from time to time on these shipping lives. I only had one this weekend. I think last weekend I had 3 or 4. Usually have 2 or 3 on the weekend. Just one this weekend, and that's okay. They'll sell. Actually, I don't need to weigh this one. Going to Barstow, California. Nick, how did your teams do this weekend? Washington, they come out with a win. I don't know about Seattle. I want to say, no, I think Seattle won, right? I realized you guys have Sam Darnold this year. Pretty sure I saw a win for Seattle. All right, a lot of retail arbitrage here. It just happens to be this weekend. A pair of Carhartt brand new women's jeans. I picked up 5 or 6 of these. I honestly thought they would be a fast mover. I priced them at $59 when I first listed these. Paid $16 a piece. They've just sat. I've sold 1 or 2. This one was down to $34.02 on this. So I'm not going to make a lot of margin, but I realized, okay, I took a chance. It didn't pay off as much on this one, so let's just get my money back. Going to Connecticut. They were larger women's sizes too, so kind of shocked me that they didn't sell as fast as they did. I think I still have 2 or 3 pairs left. Another t-shirt that by this brand, G4. Golf brand you can be on the lookout for. I would say it's definitely slowed down, but if you can find some really colorful, unique geometric patterns or like colorful golf polos, those do well with G4. Shirt was a men's medium. Best offer of $20 on this one too. Typically on these t-shirts that I pick up at TJ Maxx on their yellow tag, they're $8 or $10. So again, not a lot of margin, but it's sat around and I realized it's just time to take that first offer. That's right. The Seahawks showed Aaron Rodgers what's up. Huskies had a week off, week 3. That's an early bye week. Yeah, no worries, Chemo. Got that posh sale coming in. Okay. Banana Republic, brand new jeans, $35 on a best offer on eBay. I don't remember how much I paid for these. Would have been $10 to $16 in that range. I'm realizing, man, I just don't do retail arbitrage as much as I did. I've kind of pulled back from it a little bit just because the margin, it's just harder. And you can invest so heavily in items and then they sit, and I'm all about cash flow. So I'm still doing it. I went actually this last week, I had $70 in gift cards that I could use. I didn't even use all my gift cards. That's how much I pulled back. I still have like $10 left. All right, next up, another bulk buy. This is a thrift buy. I picked up 25 to 30 of these brand new Nike Arkansas Razorback athletic shorts. I'm down to like 4 pairs left. They've been in my store for about a year and a half. Took a best offer of $20 on these for a brand new pair of Nike shorts. Paid $7 for each of these in the lot. We're getting them gone. Basketball season's coming. The Hogs have a lot of attention right now, and so I'm gonna live off that. And they're going to Fayetteville, Arkansas. Let's see. They're going to the same town that I'm in. Let's see how far away this is. One of these days, I'm just gonna do a drop off. I'm gonna be like, your package was delivered. .9 miles away. Not very far. Think I should do it? I'm not going to do it, but it'd be fun to just go throw it in the mailbox and be like, all right, you have your package. It's there. So $9.23 profit on that pair of shorts that I paid $7 for. Again, it was a huge lot of like 30. I want to say it was actually closer to 40 pairs of shorts. I was definitely getting more for them early on. Now it's just like time to move them. Same story on repeat. Time to move them and get them gone. All right. This is a two-piece set I sold on this next item for a best offer of $34. Got a vintage Pendleton wool skirt and jacket set. I wasn't crazy about the color. What do y'all think? Brown plaid. I was hoping that I would have this would be amazing if it were a red, kind of that like tartan Scotch plaid, red, green, blue, somewhere in there, that kind of mix. So this wasn't my favorite color to find, but it was a virgin wool vintage made in the USA Pendleton jacket skirt set is how I listed that. Took a best offer of 34. Thought I would get more, but I only paid like $6 for the set. Yeah, that's amazing. I just love to see that person's face when they're like, I mean, he did buy it on Saturday or Sunday, so technically it would be like a couple of days for him on those shorts, but for someone to get that item same day, it'd be like, whoa, super fast delivery. And not on Amazon. All right, so I'm going to bag up each of these. I don't think I can get those in one. I'll just do them separate. Yeah, I think with a better color, if this had been a red plaid, I probably could have gotten more in the 40s on this. But the color just, I don't know. I guess for me personally, it's not a desirable color, but someone out there wants a brown plaid. Someone paid for it. Looks kind of grandma-y to me, but hey, that's in, right? Grandma sweaters. Someone's buying them. All right. Got my package stuck on the tape now. I'll definitely make some of the money on shipping, I would expect. Paid collected $9.95, but this is going to be closer to £3. No way, did I get it under £2? I did. Bonus. $21.75 on that set. Profit. $21.75, sold in 16 days. "59 minutes on the live. I'm pushing close. I really am trying to get an hour in on these. I think I'm going to do better than I did last week. Last week I had a ton of stuff. Brand new Levi's corduroys, another retail. I mean, I'm on like a 10 item streak right here of retail arbitrage. These went for going to Seattle, Washington, $27.52. I paid $6 to $8 for. Come on. $6 to $8 for a bunch of these pairs of Levi's corduroys. Going up to your old stomping grounds, Nick, up in Seattle. No, you weren't in Seattle, but close enough, right? Paid a couple bucks for this brand new Stafford dress shirt. This actually was not retail arbitrage. We've broken the streak. This was a thrift find. Brand new with tags, Stafford. It's not a great brand. Not one that I would suggest picking up for more than a couple bucks. But if I can find their dress shirts, this sold for $22.49. $22.49. And actually sold pretty quickly. 12 days. So I'm with Stafford, I'm looking for brand new, and I'm looking for hopefully a sale color at the thrift store. Looking for a discount. I'm not paying $7 for that shirt. I noticed this past couple of weeks that Goodwill typically has like 5 colors that they rotate between. And I don't know about your stores. You can feel free to comment this if you'd like. I know Chris at Peak, his stores don't do any discounts, which is frustrating. And obviously, and not obviously, to me, it doesn't make sense from a business standpoint to not discount like your oldest inventory. Mine used to do one color 50% off, the second like 30%. Now they just do one color 50% off. And then on Sundays, the end of the week, it goes for $1. I don't thrift on Sundays. But I noticed that this past couple of weeks, or at least this is when I noticed it, they started a new color. They've got orange in there now, which they didn't have before. And so I guess my thoughts are they're wanting to push out one more week of before that those oldest items get discounted down. I don't know if that's because they're low on inventory. I don't know why they would introduce another color to create an extra week that an item is at full price before it hits that sale, but they did. And I mean, they can do what they want. They don't need my opinion, but I just noticed that this week. Orange is a new color. Didn't mention these to you. St. John's Bay. You heard about the $5 JCPenney sale that I picked up, the velvety blazer that I showed earlier. This was another pair of navy blue corduroy pants from St. John's Bay. Again, not paying more than $5 for these. And I knew with corduroy, it's in. And there are a lot of brands that you typically wouldn't pick up that the style is what people are going for. Gosh, these things are annoying. They're like sticking to me, every one. I got $23 on a best offer. Going to Tulsa. Hey, neighbor. So profit of $14 on my 5 spent. I think I got like 5 or 6 pairs of those corduroy pants. Those are numero uno to go. 'Tis the season. We're breaking into bin number 3 on the orders this weekend. All right, fast flip alert. 5 days to sell this heavy Sherpa lined shacket, shirt jacket, shacket. Snaps up, got pockets on the front, and the brand is Matix. You kind of see it tucked in there, Matix. I don't really find this brand or pick it up much. I definitely don't pick up their shirts. I only picked it up because it was a heavy shacket that was Sherpa lined. It's a pretty cool pattern. $23.39 on this. This is one of those items that was discounted and the buyer paid full discounted price. 5 days to sell. And I love that because if you see how thick that is, that's like 4 or 5 shirts in a bin. So this gets removed and now I can throw in 5 more items in its place. And I get my money back pretty quickly. Let's keep the banana bread coming. Going to Big Lake, Minnesota. My oldest flip of the weekend, my oldest flip, these horny, actually not horny toad, that's their old name, Toad & Co. So if you find Toad & Co. or Horny Toad, they changed their name. Probably a good idea to change it from Horny Toad to Toad & Co. A lot of times I was putting in Horny Toad & Co. just to capture both in case a buyer was searching for one over the other. But it's been a while since they've been Horny Toad, so they're more Toad & Co. now. But these shorts took, listed in January of 2024, they took 600 days to sell. And they're gone for $17.10. Just your typical like outdoor hiking shorts. They were a polyester, but they had a flaw on them. They had a couple of marks, and so that may have been why. That, and they were size 31. So smaller size, not a hugely great brand. Like Toad & Co., I wouldn't say it's known like some of the other outdoor brands. And the flaw, so a few dings against it. Chemo coming back, $52 on the Circle S. Nice flip. Great flip. Going to Knoxville, Tennessee on these Toad & Co. shorts. Man, when a blazer goes over 50, as much as I hate storing and listing them, I hate blazers. I hate them, but I love the money. And we were talking about measurements earlier. I was mentioning I do with shirts a pit to pit and a length. With blazers, I add in the shoulder seam to cuff length. So that's the third measurement I do on blazers. I know other people will do like a bottom, like waist measurement. They'll do like a shoulder to shoulder. I just don't have a lot of people asking for those, and it's not enough to warrant doing it on all of my items, so I don't. This was my personal favorite find of the weekend. My favorite. I thrifted this Levi's Western shirt. So you've got the pearl snaps. It's denim, like a dark wash denim. Men's size large, so decent size. Sold for $31.49. Now, if you go on eBay right now, you can buy a brand new Levi's like flannel or Western shirt in the 30s. So I was kind of shocked this sold for what it did. Shocked in a good way. $31.49. Definitely pick up Levi's Westerns, especially, I guess when I say Levi's Westerns, I mean more the pearl snap, but the like denim style shirts. Those do really well. And I pick up a lot of brands that are denim style Western shirts. So if this was a Levi's like plaid, cotton, polyester blend, I probably wouldn't pick it. Probably would not pick it up. But for reasons that I've mentioned, that's why I grabbed it. If it were a Wrangler, I would have done it as long as it had the more denim style. Denim is in. People are looking for denim. Denim Western is in. So lost money on the shipping on that one. That hardly ever happens, but shipping ended up being more than what I collected. Going to Tempe, Arizona. It's coming your way, Nick. You want to catch it before it gets there? Pretty cool shirt. Four items left. Travis Matthew, brand new shirt. Picked up 3 of these for $15 about a year ago on the yellow tag sale. This sold for $32. This was the last one to go. Another Arizona shipment going out the door. This one's going to Oro Valley, Arizona. I don't know why I'm weighing this. This is definitely 8 ounces or less. Cool little Hawaiian polo shirt. Has a great colorful pattern going out the door before fall and winter hit. My lowest sale of the weekend, this Carhartt like pocket tee. There's the pocket with the Carhartt logo on the front. $11 going to Arch Cape, Oregon. This actually, did it have a flaw? I had 2 of these. I'm trying to remember if this was the one with the flaw. Maybe it was the other one. Okay. Took an offer. This was $11.69 and they offered $11. I'm like, it's a great offer. Couldn't go for the extra 69 cents, but that's okay. Some people just like those whole round numbers, and I was fine with that sale. I was fine with that all the way. I didn't make much on those. A couple of bucks. Probably not something I'll pick up again. I thought I would get more than that. Carhartt. Yeah, especially those pocket tees. I mean, you can go online and get a brand new one for not much more. So I probably won't do that one again. 2 more to go. Patagonia, not like hiking shorts. These are actually cotton, so kind of like a canvasy knit short. But great brand on that. Sold for $24.28, going to Portland. We had 2 Arizonas, and now we've got 2 Oregons in a row. If you're new to reselling and you're not familiar with shipping, USPS basically has rates, at least right now at the time of this video, they have rates based on like ranges of weight. So if it's 5 to 8 ounces, it's a certain price based on where it's going. If it's 9 to 12, it's another price. And if it's 13 to a pound, it's another price. So if your item is 13 or 14 ounces, it's going to be the same. So I just always round up. I round up to those 8, 12, or a pound. I guess at a pound it's more. So 13 to 15 ounces is one rate. So just keep that in mind. I paid $8 for these Patagonia shorts 32 days ago at a yard sale. I actually picked up like 7 or 8 pairs of Patagonia higher end brands for $8 a piece. So $12.04 profit on those. Not a great return on a pair of Patagonia shorts, but $8 spent, $12 profit. Again, I'm not like, if you're just starting off or you're tight on money, that may not be a buy that you would want to make, to spend 8 to make 12. But I've been doing this for full time for 8 years now, and 10 years if you include when I was a side hustle. So I've got a little bit of padding in my bank account that I can swallow the cost of that and let it sit for a little bit to get it back later on. Earlier on, I probably wouldn't have picked up an $8 item to flip for 24, but things change. My strategies have changed a little bit. This was a great offer that I accepted this morning. My neighbor, if you've heard me talk about, he gives me Burberry stuff. See if you can catch the tag there, Burberry London. And this was a Nova Check pattern, and I always get Nova Check in the title when I can, if it's a Nova Check item. I'll show you a little bit, but I'll show you the listing because I don't think you'll be able to see it through the plastic there. I had it for $89 on this used Burberry shirt. Buyer made an offer of $75, going to Yuma, Arizona, and I accepted. So I'll have to share, excuse me, I'll have to share this with you because we need to see this. All right. So there it is. Nova Check. Probably do a post on this because this is something that I think would be beneficial. I've had a few shirts that have been different colors, but have had that pattern. And I always try and get that Nova Check in the title, as I mentioned earlier. So that's a look at the shirt in detail. We'll see here. There's a close-up of it. There's the tag, Burberry London. And this was even a size medium. Gosh, just a beautiful shirt. So I alluded to this being something that my neighbor gave me. He loves Burberry, so from time to time, he'll give me a bunch of stuff to sell. We split the profits. So I won't get all of the profit on this, but I have nothing invested in it. Gotta ship it out here. I have nothing invested in it. It's just an item that when it sells off, I make my commission. I've done very well with that neighbor. He's been really good to me. And I'm sure he would say the same about me since I'm selling his items for him. But it's been a good partnership. I'm very thankful that he's reached out to me and continues to reach out to me. All right. Well, let's take a look at that. So that one took 206 days to sell. When you have items like that, you don't have a lot of people who are like, I'm going to go spend $75 on a shirt. So it's finding the right time and the right buyer, and especially on a medium. Probably would have sold faster if it were an XL or larger. The profit on that was just under 60 bucks. So 30 bucks a piece in each of our pockets. I'll definitely take that. And with that, I do want to share. So if you don't know, I have a spreadsheet, a reseller spreadsheet, and one of the many features on this spreadsheet that I use for this specific instance is the consignment tab. So I've created a tab on the spreadsheet, which if you're interested in the spreadsheet, you should take a look at it. I think I've got it linked in the comments. Let me know if I don't and you're interested. You can definitely find it linked in the description of this video. But I have a tab just set up for my neighbor, and every time an item sells, I paste it from the sales tab into the consignment tab, and then it quickly tells me how much I owe him at the end of each month. So I won't show it to you just because it's got his numbers on there, but I put in the rate that we've agreed on, which is 50% profit for each of us. So you can customize it to your relationships. You'll create basically a separate tab for each consignment relationship that you have. So if you've got 3 people that you do consignment for, you sell an item for them, and then you get a cut of the profit, you can set up a tab for each of those people. So I have a few tabs that I do consignment for, and he's one of them. And I quickly paste the sale in, and I don't have to think about it. At the end of the month, I just go in, it automatically tabulates how much I owe that person, and then I can send them a Venmo, a check, however you want to do it. So it's super easy, and if you're interested in that, let me know. Again, also linked in the description of this video. Okay, so that's all I've got on this live shipping this morning. We're at 1 hour and 17 minutes, so I did better than last week. We'll get that down to as well as I get quicker and quicker, but I just want to thank you all for coming in and saying hello. I've got some listing to do today. I'm actually working on the 2026 version of the spreadsheet, so I'll be doing that as well. I've got a lot going on. Got to get some social media posts up too. So thank you for stopping in. Thank you for saying hello. Thank you for adding on to the reseller conversation. I'm here every Monday morning shipping out my weekend orders at the moment. So once a week on Monday morning. Feel free to jump in next week if you're willing, and if you're available and want to hang out as well next week as I ship out my orders. So you all have a great week. Hope some good sales come your way. We'll catch you on another live. Thanks so much.